What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another tune from the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, which makes me very nostalgic. I was thinking about the playthrough I did earlier today, and it inspired me to do probably a couple, maybe even three soundtrack reactions from this score by the legendary Yasunori Mitsuda, which is funny because most Japanese artists and composers, I say it the Japanese way, surname and then given name, but he kind of became known to me before I understood that, so I always say Yasunori Mitsuda, but I think technically it would be Mitsuda Yasunori. In any case, he composed the soundtrack to both Chrono Trigger and the excellent sequel Chrono Cross, which I still have ideas of doing a playthrough for, but a while back I downloaded the emulator for original PlayStation, as well as the ROMs for Chrono Cross and a few other games, but I couldn't get it to work on my computer. So I haven't given up on the idea, but yes, currently that's not an option, and I'm going through Phantasy Star, and I'll be doing the other Phantasy Stars after that. More on that in a little while, which is to say the first two Phantasy Stars I know very well, and am excited to complete the first one and begin the second one. Numbers 3 and 4 I never really played, but yes, I've read some things about them recently, and apparently they're held in as high regard as the first two by people who have played them. In any case, we are going back to the soundtrack to Chrono Trigger, and we're going to listen to a track called The Hidden Truth, which I think is used almost exclusively, maybe literally exclusively, in connection to the storyline, and mild spoilers here, so if you haven't played the game, or if you are interested in seeing the playthrough, then maybe wait for this reaction, or jump ahead till you can tell that I'm starting the track. But yeah, it's used in conjunction with the storyline where Chrono, or as he is in my playthrough, Cypher, and Marle, and by extension Luca, are framed for having done something which they didn't actually do, and we eventually learn the Chancellor in the royal court is actually not only a traitor and engaging in espionage or subterfuge, but is actually the descendant of a monster who your team vanquishes a few hundred years earlier. Yes, there is time travel in the game if you haven't seen it and you are still watching. So yeah, you are eventually put on to trial and convicted in essentially a sham trial where, like, even if you get acquitted by the jury, the prosecutor and the chancellor just declare that you're guilty anyway, and you're going to be held for a few days, and then once you get into the jail, they announce that you're going to be executed, and even the person who runs the jail is like, wait, that's not the note that I got. And he's like, hey, you questioning me? This guy is going to be executed in a few days. Don't let him out of his cell until then, and you have to escape, and so on. So yes, the track here, The Hidden Truth, is used as this is playing out, and unfortunately the king, Marle's father, is swept up in the conspiracy, meaning he ends up thinking that you actually are guilty even though you're not. So yeah, there's a lot of drama, and the stakes are high until you escape, and eventually later in the game you're able to prove your innocence, but it is a very dramatic sequence of events, and the tune nails it. It's dramatic, there's a sense of worry, there's a mysterious quality to it, because at first you don't quite know why you're being falsely accused, and there seems to be a conspiracy afoot, but you don't know exactly what's happening. So all of that, I think, is contained in the tune. It is quite short. It's probably a fifth of the time that I've already been talking. So let's hear it. This is Yasunori Mitsuda from the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, and the track is The Hidden Truth. rolls over without a car alarm outside. But yes, there's one scene in particular I think of it playing when you're acquitted. Well, you can actually be convicted, but if you know what you're doing, you can have the jury acquit you, and then again the chancellor just steps in cahoots with the prosecutor. And in fact, I think he's the one and the same. I think like he serves as the prosecutor. So yes, he just declares, but you actually, you ran away, like you took the princess away. So even if you didn't do this thing that we're accusing you of, we're still going to send you to jail for a few days. And when you're sentenced and the king refuses to intervene, this track plays. And when Chrono, or Cypher, is being marched to the jail, to the prison, this tune is playing, and it's very dramatic. So yeah, it's a top tune. As I said, it hits the feeling of the moment or the sequence of the story just perfectly. So again, we'll go through maybe another couple of these tunes in this batch, because this is a soundtrack that I have not reacted to enough yet, and there's like 20 plus tunes in there. So in any case, let me know what you think of this one, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.